Let me spotlight Mr. Duxbury here. Jim,
Thanks, Kent.
welcome.
Yeah, that was unreal. I'm going to do a screen share here. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay.
A round bowl with horizontal lines.
Very nice piece.
First off, I draw everything. I mean everything. And I had to learn AutoCAD. I actually went to college and learned it. It took 6 months or something. It's fabulous, and you can save things and send pictures or drawings to anybody in the world. Alter them, bring them up, save them in files. It's fabulous. I started making trivets on a table saw, and these are the cuts on this is these are 1/4-inch cuts done with a box cutting blade that you use for making tenons on a box. 1/4-inch wide, 1/4-inch deep. And after I made a few of these things, I thought, well, I'll do this on one side, and then I'll turn it around on the other side. From the trivet, I went to this. This is a 6x6 piece, the piece that Kent just showed. And that was a lot of fun. I've made dozens of those all over the place. I've taught it. I make them in all different woods. These are maple and bloodwood, I think. I found it's amazing. A lot of people want a pair of things. And so I often make, these are pair made in catalogs. But in fact, just recently we had a guy over in Raleigh call. He had 2 people win this contest. It was a dead even tie. He says, I have to have 2 prizes. They have to be identical. There can't be one shade of anything different on either one of them. And I says, I just happen to have that. So in fact, I bought him 2 sets of them, and he liked them so well, he bought 1 set for himself. But this is once you figure this out, you can do alternatives, all kinds of derivatives of that. This is Babinga on the front and cherry on the back. I'll show the back.
Goodness.
And I'll go back to the other anarchy. If you look at the edge of this, you can see it goes from nothing to a full piece of cherry on the back, from nothing to a full piece of Babinga on the front. And then when you turn that, you get Babinga, half Babinga rings and half cherry rings. And then on the other side, you get cherry rings going into Babinga rings.
Jeez.
You can do all kinds of things with this. And I'll show some more, but every now and then you make a mistake and you don't do an offset. Kent has a couple of these. If you do very many and you're not paying attention, you end up with that. So I got these rings and I realized what was going to happen. So I didn't turn the other ones all the way through and put a plug in the middle. So I got a plug on both sides, but we won't talk about this one very much. I make these into different things. This is made into a lamp. These sell instantly. They go about $250, and they just the wiring takes forever. I have to sneak the wiring through the base up through here. Oh, if you ever have to pull wire and you got this all together, take a guitar string and push it up through that daggone thing, goes around corners and up through in 90 degrees and comes out the other end. I don't know how it does it, but it's the only thing I know will do it.
How about a string and a vacuum?
Oh God, I have no idea. It's a really small hole, maybe. I taught this a couple places. One of the students come back a couple weeks later. He said, I really had a good time. He made 3 of these things or something, and he painted them. There's different colored rings, and there's been all kinds of derivatives of this done. This is another one. The guy really liked this thing, and he lays it on its side. I don't know if I can turn it on its side. he lays it on its side like this, and he calls it a fish. So,
Oh.
hey, if you bought it, you can call it whatever you want. This is another one that this is probably about 7 by 12 or 13 in catalogs. You can make the offset either go horizontal or vertical or corner to corner, or whatever you like.
Oh,
Learn how to do that. Let's go to just this one. This is just a set of rings. If you look at this real close, that center one is the same as this. This next one is the same thing, only it's shifted 1/4 of an inch. So this is 1/4 of an inch. So this ring here now becomes tangent to this ring here and leaves you a half moon section in the middle. You see that?
Yep.
And then the outer one is the same thing. This ring here is cut. And then this ring here is moved out 1/4 of an inch. So it's stepped out and it becomes tangent to here. This ring here is both this cut and this cut. This is a 10 center piece. There's a center on the front. There's a center here and a center here. There's 3. And there's 3 centers here. And there's 3 centers here. That's 9, and a center on the back is 10. These, I showed this from the inside out. If you ever go to make one of these, you turn it from the outside in, because when you start cutting this out, you've taken the center out of this next one. So you have to cut this from the outside in. Ask me how I know that.
do you get dizzy turning these?
No, not on these. I'm the screwy balls I do, but this also, once I get it done, I spray it with shellac, and then I paint the inside of the thing, and then sand the top so I get a black background. The same here. This is sanded and then or painted and sanded. That's mahogany, I think. This is a similar one. This is a 12 center turning. So you got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and one on the back, 12. It's shaded, it's airbrushed red down the middle and yellow down here. So when you sand the top off, you get this shading.
Wow. How do you control your depth with the chisel?
That takes a while to tell you. I use
You
a
could
depth.
do it with you could do it with masking tape, like you would a drill bit.
This is done by eye with a depth gauge, and I could show probably better here. This is the top surface of the piece. I have a bar with a pin going through it to give me the depth. So this would be 1/4 from the top of here to the top of there is about 1/4 of the thickness of the wood. So if this was an inch, this would be recessed 1/4 of an inch. And then from here at the bottom of this cut is another 1/4 of an inch. But it's referenced from this surface here. You never cut down to here and then reference from here to here, because that gives you 2 different places to make a mistake. You reference off the top surface always on anything. So I do it with a depth gauge. On some of the real complicated pieces, I turn the back first. And once I get the back, all these rings cut, you don't need a depth gauge, because you recess this down to here, and then you set up your pattern. And when you start cutting through here, you cut till you see the other side. carefully. You don't want to see too much of the,
Wow.
here's the pair of them together. I think this might be interesting. This is what it looks like mounted. I mount the piece on a faceplate. This is just a piece of plywood, I think, on a big faceplate. And I screw the piece to it. By doing that, I can pick up different centers. Once I pick up this center, I actually take my drawing. This is drawn in AutoCAD. You can see lightly is the rings in back, but these offset rings, I draw that printed out on a copy machine. When you print something out on a copy machine, take the center and swing arcs all the way around it. Damn copy machines shrink things and expand things. They do not print a perfect circle. About half the time you'll get some kind of oval. And if you do something precision or making gears, you make gears where they work great and all of a sudden two lobes come together and they won't go anymore. Swing an arc just to darken it up so you know exactly where it is. Anyway, you hold this board up here before you screw it on. Just set it against the faceplate. Bring the tailstock up and set it on that center and pinch it tight. And then screw it to the faceplate. And now you're on that center. That's been done with all of these centers. And this is a 10 center piece. But then when you get all done, you just stand I actually put the, locate this plan and use, you know, the spray sticky stuff and mount the thing, glue it right to the piece. So that gives me all my centers. I know exactly where I am at. I do this with a lot of things too. And then you get all done. This is what it looks like. Bandsaw it out, make it round and sand it up. You can do all kinds of things with this. Once you know AutoCAD, when you get this drawing, you just draw this part. You can flip that over. You can turn it at angles. You can copy it and paste it on somewhere else. You can do all kinds of things with it. I think Kent's program will probably do that too. But this is actually a small one of these. It's just these two here turned. That's a 30 degrees, so this is turned 90 plus 30. I was going to make a face out of this, but my wife overruled me. She said, anyway, this is the back. I didn't do the black in the back so you can see what happens. These are ornaments. I don't know, some are 3 inches in diameter or something. That's just a little one turned, and the same thing turned on a rectangular piece, cut 45 degrees. One side is flipped over, so it makes a 90 degree, just like a miter with that in the middle. This is a rectangular piece turned with this bullseye, this ring out here, cut it at 45 degree, flipped over and indexed over to the edge here. That makes an S shape. Okay, you can do all kinds of things.
Great stuff, Jim.
Anyway,
Very nice.
Great stuff.
there's well, I just threw this in. We do a lot of offset things. This is a two-side or a 2-axis box. And that's what I just showed you. That's in bloodwood. This is a 3-axis base. But we do a lot of offset things, and that's all drawn. That any one of these is not just sculpted out. Like I said in the beginning of Kent's presentation, there's two kinds of wood turners. One does precision. If you're making artwork, you put a block of wood on the lathe, and if you get a catch, you got a smaller piece of artwork, that's all. But, and it's gorgeous. You can do all kinds of things with it. But when you're doing something that has to fit together or visually interlock, then it's got to be right. Any questions? You're all.
So there was one question, wanted to know what made you decide to start making the style of turning?
Oh God, it wasn't drinking or anything. It was I was making trivets, and they were square trivets, and they're not very exciting. And I don't really like making them on the table saw. So I turned to one side, and from there it's like, well, if you could turn one side, why can't you turn both sides? And then you start turning offset here and offset there, and why not add 3 more? And pretty soon, who knows? You probably haven't seen the end of this yet, but I'll stop.
Yeah, good stuff, Jim.
Yes.
Fun.
Thank you. Well, if you got any questions, don't hesitate. Or
Anyone else have any questions? Nine? All right, well, let's go
Clear as
to our
mud.
next, was that a question?
No, I was just saying clear as mud.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, there's 1,000 questions. I just don't know what to ask first. So
Yeah.
Hey, go to the webpage and read his 5-page article or print it out and mark it step by step with your pencil. You can do this.
Yep.
It looks like
And
a
is
good
that on-
demo to me.
And is that on the AEW webpage?
Well, that link, it is, but it's also on my presentation that I put in the chat, kentcrowell.weebly.com.
Okay. Got it.
I have to tell you, that'll
Right on.
also be out in the Wood Turning magazine. Oh, they're working on it. I think it's going to be issue 388 or something. That's in probably about 3 months.
And you actually did a variation of that on the outside of a bowl, didn't you? The outside, inside of a bowl.
Yes.
It's
yeah.
incredible.
That's the advanced class. That has to be a perfect,
Yeah, I think so.
that has to be a perfect sphere. I mean, perfect. That was an 1/8 of an inch thick bowl, and the ribs are an 1/8 inch by 1/16 of an inch by 1/16 of an inch, a 1/16 deep. And if you're off a 64th of an inch, the top of the bead is missing. So it's got to be dead on. You can't even sand it. But anyway, do you want to see the bowl?
yes.
Sure.
Sure.
Show us that bowl.
I did another one, was really fabulous. I'll tell you, this was the most gorgeous thing I ever made. I spent 2 weeks doing it. It has a ring. It has the rings on the outside and the inside. Don't bring that. Okay. Anyway, it comes apart because there's not enough wood left to hold it together. Okay. This is done from both sides.
Oh my
Mhm,
God.
Oh my
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Wow.
That is neat.
Absolutely incredible.
That is a perfect sphere. If this has a flat spot in it, these are only a 1/16 of an inch high. So if it has a flat spot in it anywhere, you see half the rib missing.
Yes.
So Hans
Wow.
Weisbach does these. In fact, I said,
That's incredible.
this is even better. I was going to do this. You see the designs on the outside. I thought, well, that's easy enough because you have to make a sphere to put this on, and then you index it around and anchor it on that sphere and actually cut these one at a time. This one has the designs on the inside. So as this thing is pointed towards you, and you have to go down the center of it and turn these little bullseyes while this is flying around. And I'll tell you, that isn't a fun afternoon. But anyway, I got it almost all done, and I thought, oh, damn, this is really great. I got, in fact, the hard ones are the little ones, because you're really off center and you're coming, this thing is laid right over like this and it's flying around and you're going down the center trying to hit this thing.
Hmm.
So I thought, oh, that's really good. I got to turn one on the outside and see what happens. So I turned the outside and then the whole thing came apart. I mean, there just isn't there's no wood left. So
Right.
it just, some you win, some you lose. It's,
Incredible.
Wow.
this is the same thing. This is an 1/8" spear. And
Wow.
I learned too, on this one, I didn't put a bottom on it. This one here, I put a bottom on it. And I wasn't thinking. I had to triangulate all these off the edge because I had this daggone bottom in the middle. You lose your reference point. But anyway, you can tell why I don't have much hair.
Wow.
But here I kept a reference point, so this was a lot easier to do. Anyway, cutting 16" ribs is not fun either, but you can go cross-eyed after a while.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Wow, great stuff, Jim. Thank you.
can do.
Fantastic.
All right.